So, Doctor, what the group came about, we came out with an idea for the adoption and implementation of a fuel tracking and monitoring system. We use the case study of Engabo Security Company. It's one of the security companies.
Kivunda, can you share what you're presenting?
Is my screen visible?
We are seeing the screen is visible.
Adoption and implementation.
We're seeing the folder research methods open. Eh?
This side, Doctor, I've already opened the folder, so the file.
I think you have to share again, specifically selecting the file that you've opened.
Okay. Let me try again, Doctor.
Okay. Again, we're only seeing the folder.
I'm finding some challenges, Doctor. How about this? Is this clear?
Yes, now it's clear.
Good morning, class.
You click on
Yes, it's clear.
Clear?
Yes, now we can
Yes.
see it. Eh?
good morning,
Good morning, class, once again. Group two came up with an idea, which is an adoption and implementation of a fuel tracking and monitoring system, and with the case study of Engabo Security Limited. Engabo Security Limited is one of the security companies that are in Uganda. Its offices are in Nansana. Realized there are challenges. For example, whenever there are deployment vehicles, whenever there are quick response force vehicles, whenever the drivers are dispatched, some of them, for instance, go into their businesses or they go into their personal appointments. And this in turn leads to fuel shortages and failure to track the movements of these people, as well as some bad habits, for example, the siphoning of fuel. For those that may not be acquainted with the word siphoning, siphoning is kukuba uruseki, like somebody trying to get fuel from a vehicle. Of course, it is illegal. We were guided by three perspectives. On the global perspective, the fleet management, it highlights the transformative role of digital fuel monitoring and modern applications which have integrated GPS and the GSM technologies have been able to deliver real-time insights on fuel levels and vehicle movements. Then on the regional and local context, the adoption of digital fuel monitoring has remained limited due to the infrastructure gaps, cost barriers, and lack of customized solutions. For example, as we are doing research, one of our comrades said how in their institution they tried to implement this system, but it was too costly to maintain. So this aligns with failure to have customized solutions. It was too hard to maintain, especially in terms of the softwares and then the maintenance. And then these approaches, which are manual, for example, the record keeping in terms of logbooks and receipts, they are very vulnerable to fraud, human error, and inefficiencies. For those that have been in offices know or have seen how sometimes some of the staff always fidget adding different figures to make sure that they raise fuel amounts, and then later they claim how they want to take Njaulo. So trying to put in place this digital system will help to cut down these costs. The research gap, whereas there is evidence from global studies that confirm the effectiveness of the Internet of Things based on the fuel tracking systems, there is a limited body of research, especially on the locally developed systems and the content specifications in Uganda. I've worked in several security companies before, and I can confirm that at least the majority of the big security companies that I know don't have these tracking systems, especially for fuel. Except those that used to provide security services to these telecommunication boosters. They used to have an Inara system. It's called Inara for those Mlongotis, but it was very expensive to maintain, and also it was not custom made to fulfill the local needs. So it's a research gap that we wanted to exploit, because majority of the existing systems are for large logistics companies and government agencies, which have a small focus on the small and medium firms, whereas they also face the unique operational challenges. So the study wants to address this gap by designing and implementing a fuel tracking and monitoring system that is tailored to the operational needs of Engao Security Limited, thereby contributing to both the academic knowledge and the practical solutions for fuel management in Uganda. The problem statement, I think it's what I started with when I explained how the drivers want to siphon fuel, how the drivers end up in unplanned routes, which are not beneficial to the company needs, and yet at the end, it's the management or the fuel department that has to give them extra fuel. So that means the accountability is quite hard. And in one of the instances that I remember, I worked with a security company, SWAT. One day we deployed a security guard, and the next morning the gentleman went with the vehicle. It was intercepted in Hoima, but it was we used a lot of efforts, especially in coordinating with police, then which police officer is at what roadblock, calling the entire Uganda. So had we had this system in place before, because this system allows to press a stop engine where the vehicle, once the person at the control center presses stop, it will stop. So at least, and of course it will be reading the direction because it works with the GPS. So it will be helpful because when I press stop and it's showing me the direction, for example, that the vehicle is in Nakasongola, I will be able to contact the police, which is in Nakasongola. So it is problem and very specific. Unlike that time when we lost a vehicle and we had to call the regional police centers, which was of course costly because we had to maintain those police officers at halt, not knowing where exactly the vehicle could have been. And those who are in our systems know what it means contacting police officers. So this system wants to address those gaps. The system will be able to use the GPS and GSM. GSM is a global system for mobile communications, and it will be able to use a 4G, fourth generation, which will be enabling it to access accurate data via a mobile application linked to in-vehicle devices. Similar systems have shown to minimize fuel theft, improve fleet efficiency, and prevent vehicle misuse by Venezuelan and others 2020. This study therefore seeks to design, develop, and implement a customized fuel tracking and monitoring system solution for Engao Security Limited, enhance accountability, reduce operational costs, and then improve overall efficiency. Our main research objective is to implement a fuel tracking and monitoring system for Engao Security Limited in order to improve accountability, operational efficiency, and transparency in fuel utilization. Our specific objectives to analyze the current fuel management practices and challenges at Engao Security Limited with a focus on inefficiencies, leakages, and accountability gaps, to assess staff perceptions, readiness, and acceptance of a digital fuel tracking and monitoring application as an alternative to traditional fuel management methods, to design a customized fuel tracking and monitoring system tailored to the operational needs of Engao Security Limited, while incorporating GPS and GSM-based vehicle monitoring features, implement the fuel tracking and monitoring system and integrate it with the company's vehicle monitoring processes, ensuring seamless adoption within existing operational workshops or workflows. To evaluate the effectiveness of the implemented fuel tracking and monitoring system in reducing fuel misuse, enhancing accountability, and improving the accuracy of reporting and decision making. Our research questions or hypotheses. What are the current practices and challenges in fuel management at Engao Security Limited? Our question 2, how do staff perceive and accept the idea of implementing a digital fuel tracking and monitoring system? What system features are most suitable for designing a customized fuel tracking and monitoring system that meet Engao Security's operational needs? How can the FTMS be effectively integrated with vehicle monitoring processes at Engao Security Limited? To what extent does the implemented fuel tracking and monitoring system reduce fuel misuse, improve accountability, and enhance reporting accuracy? Then our research hypothesis, hypothesis 1, adoption and implementation of the FTMS significantly reduces fuel misuse at Engao Security Limited. Like how doctor you advised us, there is always a point and then another point to counter it. So the one that counters the first one would be adoption of the FTMS does not significantly reduce fuel misuse at Engao Security Limited. Hypothesis 2, implementation of the FTMS leads to a significant reduction in operational costs compared to the current fuel management practices. or the implementation of the FTMS does not lead to a significant reduction in operational costs compared to the current fuel management practices. Hypothesis 3, employee perceptions and acceptance significantly influence the successful adoption of the FTMS at Ingabo Security Limited. And employee perceptions and acceptance do not significantly influence the adoption, significantly influence the adoption of the FTMS at Ingabo Security Limited. We used the following theoretical frameworks: technology acceptance model, which was developed by Davis in 1989. It argues that user acceptance of a technology is influenced primarily by perceived usefulness and perceived ease of use. This theory is widely applied in information systems, and in this study, we shall use technology acceptance model to explain whether Ingabo Security Limited staff perceive the fuel tracking and monitoring system as both useful in reducing inefficiencies and easy to integrate into daily routines. The theory to which we shall use is resource-based view, developed by Burnley, which highlights that firms achieve sustained competitive advantage when they exploit resources that are variable, rare, inimitable, and non-substitutable. And in this case, Ingabo Security Limited, FTMS in Ingabo is going to be conceptualized as a strategic digital resource capable of improving accountability, minimizing resource wastage, and enhancing service delivery. Theory 3, unified theory of acceptance and use of technology, developed by Venkatesh and redefined in later studies, consolidates the elements of multiple adoption theories. For this study, this theory complements the technology acceptance model by examining how organizational culture, peer influence, and institutional support may shape staff willingness to adopt and consistently use fuel tracking and monitoring system. And then the last theory that we shall use is the diffusion of innovation theory, developed by Rogers. It explains how innovations spread within organizations and society. It emphasizes factors such as relative advantage, compatibility, complexity, trialability, and observability. Applying this theory allows the exploration of how quickly the use of fuel tracking and monitoring system is likely to diffuse or spread among Ingabo security staff, and what characteristics of the system, for example, visibility of benefits, ease of implementation, shall accelerate or hinder its adoption. The proposed research design or method that we shall use: the study shall adopt a case study focusing on Ingabo security as the unit of analysis. The case study approach is appropriate because it enables an in-depth, contextualized exploration of how an FTMS can be designed, implemented, and evaluated in a real organizational setting. This research will be applied in nature, employing a design, build, evaluate methodology, which emphasizes problem diagnosis, iterative solution development, and outcome assessment. Research methods, exploratory phase. In the exploratory phase, we are going to use interviews, and they will be conducted with the managers, drivers, technical staff, document existing challenges in field management as well as perceptions of digital monitoring systems. As Doctor had advised us yesterday, giving us an example of an e-learning system where you don't need the administrative staff, even as here we shall be very specific. Document review. Document review will be used to analyze historical fuel records, logbooks, receipts, and fleet reports to establish the baseline data, because we build from what we have. So we have to first get the past records as to when we're using the old methods to justify the need for a new method that aims at cutting the costs and improve operational efficiency. Then observation, which we shall use to observe the current fuel management practices, identify inefficiencies and operational gap. For example, as I had earlier highlighted, the drivers that, for example, go in their routes while they've been sent for deployment or for quick response force, I was able to see this using observation. Then in the second phase, which is system development phase, we shall develop the FTMS using an agile methodology, which is characterized by iterative prototype, feedback loops, and incremental improvements. This means that even before we bring out the original, the real system, we have to first create a prototype, go through the prototype with the stakeholders, and then see if it is able to meet the intended objectives, get the feedback from the relevant stakeholders, and see if their needs are going incremental improvements, as we've stated. And then also we shall have continuous engagement with users, which will ensure that the system is tailored to the operational realities. Because we've had some challenges where you, for example, there is one of the systems that we adopted in a certain department, but we realized that the system is well utilized if it is abroad. For example, there is where our technology hasn't reached, that sometimes when you bring a certain system which is not customized, the system is unable to achieve the efficiencies. For example, if you deploy a 4G system in an area where there is no network, the system would not be customized. And the reason as to why continuous engagement has to be on is to address these gaps. Then in the pilot implementation phase, FTMS will be deployed on a selected sample of patrol vehicles to test functionality, usability, and integration into routine operations. Evaluation phase, the system's effectiveness will be evaluated against the KPIs, for example, the fuel consumption reports, incident logs, response times, and then the cost savings, to compare and see, was the implementation of this system, was it an added advantage, or it is another cost that the institution is bearing without results. Then both technical performance, accuracy, and reliability, and then the organizational outcomes, efficiency, accountability, and user acceptance will have to be accessed. The data collection methods, the study will adopt a mixed methods approach by combining both qualitative and quantitative data. This is because, one, we shall use quantitative statistics, the logbooks, as we've said, the number of vehicles. So it includes the statistics and includes the tangible. The system has the tangible element and then also the qualitative, because it has to include interviews which are structured and not to everybody, but only those concerned. For example, the management, drivers, and the IT staff, to see their insights or perceptions, attitudes, and experiences with this system. Then also focus groups will further explore organizational readiness and acceptance of the system. Observation data will also be gathered during the pilot phase to document how the system is used in practice, the ease of interaction with its features, and the emerging operational challenges. Population and sampling. Our target population is basically the employees who are involved in the fuel management and vehicle operations at Ingabo Security Limited. With this focus being a single organization, the study will not attempt statistical generalization, but rather analytical generalization, developing insights that may be transferable to similar private security firms in Uganda. So our sample group: fleet management staff responsible for fuel allocation and monitoring, drivers, particularly those assigned to patrol vehicles who interact daily with fuel resources, IT personnel engaged in system integration and maintenance, senior management staff influence strategic decisions regarding operational resources. Our sampling technique: we shall use a purposive sampling strategy to ensure that only participants with direct relevance to fuel management and FTMS adoption are included. This approach is appropriate in case study research where depth of insight, breadth of representation is prioritized by Yin 218. Our data analysis shall be both qualitative, quantitative, and qualitative. In quantitative, fuel consumption statistics and fleet cost records will be analyzed using descriptive statistics such as means, percentages, and trend analysis. Comparisons will be made between pre-implementation, that means before the implementation of this system, and then post-implementation periods to evaluate whether this system has produced measurable efficiency improvements. Where appropriate, visual presentations, graphs, charts will be used to highlight patterns and trends in fuel use. And then we shall also adopt a qualitative analysis, especially data from interviews, discussions, observations. They will also be transcribed and analyzed through thematic coding. Teams will be inductively and deductively derived to capture recurring issues, perceptions, and implementation challenges. This will allow the researcher to interpret how staff attitudes, organizational culture, and system usability influence the adoption and effectiveness of an FTMS. Then also triangulation of qualitative and quantitative findings will strengthen the validity of the study's conclusions. These are the references. So I don't know, class, if anybody has a question for us, group 2. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Kivuna and team. I don't know who your group members are.
Doctor, our group members, we have David Kizito, we have Topista, and then Charles Kasuja.
Okay.
Uh,
Thank you.
plus Emmanuel Ndejeya, Doctor.
Okay. Does anyone have a question for this group? But I think
Come again?
does anyone have, I'm asking if anyone has a question for you before I comment.
Okay, doctor.
Does anyone have a question? Okay. I don't, that, if I think there is none, let me just give a few guidelines. One, this was thoroughly done, and I can see your references are quite up to date. Your citations are really up to date. Just a few guidelines. One, the topic refers to adoption, but I think you're really looking at design, not adoption, because your research problem indicates that the existing systems have been for large scale, but now you want to look at something for an SMG, small to medium enterprises, which is what populates Uganda's economy as far as the fuel industry is concerned, I think. I think that is that is the gist of it. So it is more of design that you're focusing on rather than adoption. Two, when we begin discussion, right from the beginning, the concept paper, and when we're writing the proposal, we rarely talk about the case study. Reason being, we don't want this to be an organization problem. We want it to be a research problem. So it is key that we shouldn't be talking about your case study area at this point. At no point should it appear. Maybe, yes, it can appear in the topic as the case study, but in the discussion, we shouldn't be talking about the case study area, where it is located, and so on and so forth. We should really be focused on the research problem that exists in a specific industry. Now we move further to your objectives. The objectives, that later on your hypothesis. Would you say this is an exploratory research or explanatory? Because it looks like we're coming into a new area, there is need for these tracking systems because
it's exploratory, doctor.
Yes. So
we
and you can see you have research questions, but then your research questions indicate that, so the hypotheses are redundant at this point. So that is where I would I would say the hypotheses are redundant. Then we move to your theoretical framework. One, I think we are focusing on design. So I think you'd be looking more to a theoretical framework that is looking at design. Then two, as far as theoretical framework is concerned, we don't pick all the theories that exist in an area. We later on, in when you're writing the proposal, you may discuss in your chapter 2, you may discuss all theories and then say, this research is focusing or is going to use this theoretical framework. It's going to use this theory, maybe one or two theories, but not all that exist in that area. So one, that is because I think you've listed all theories that exist in adoption. But one, I would be looking more in design theory rather than in adoption. And then you don't pick all of them. You pick one that you feel is appropriate for your research. Something that is appropriate for your research. Yeah. Your methodology. Let's move to methodology. So specifically, you've picked case study, which is good, case study research method. But I think also your primary one should be design science. Yeah, it should be, those two research methods should be it. And So I would be focusing on those two. At conceptual method, we don't need to be so detailed. At conceptual method, with talking specifically what we're going to do, but we would give a more
Well, we are to take
brief,
note.
because a conceptual framework may take maybe 5-6 pages.
Yeah, let's say the main focus supposed to be here.
Sorry, Moses,
Yes,
you have
I
a
know, but
contribution? Okay. So briefly, those
Doctor.
were... Yes, please.
Under theoretical framework,
Mm-hmm.
are you saying that we only come up with one theory that we are going to use?
You can have 1 or 2 theories. You select 1 or 2 that you will use. You don't select all. Those that will guide you. So you look
Okay,
at the
doctor.
needs. You look at the needs of your research. Remember, the theoretical framework is not going to guide you. Let's say if it's design, it's the theory. It's the theory that will help you design. If you maybe need another theory which is focusing on SMGs on the business side, maybe studying the business processes, then you select that one. Then you'll have those 2 theories guiding you. Not all theories that exist in design are not all theories that exist in business process selection, that kind of thing. So you select the 1 or 2 theories that you're going to use, and you justify why I'm using these.
Okay, doctor.
Okay. So is there any other question, comment?
Doctor,
But I think
this is
this was
Emmanuel.
well done. Yes, Emmanuel.
This is not to the team, but to you, doctor, for guidance.
Mm.
When we are doing the problem statement,
Mm.
I have seen my colleagues have highlighted a research gap
Mm-hmm.
independent of the research problem.
Mm.
My question to you now is it that we mention in the research gap as a standalone item, or the research gap is implied in the problem statement?
It is implied.
That's
Now,
my question.
and normally we don't state it clear that we state it that, oh, this is the research gap. In the background discussion, by the time you finish the background discussion, it should be clear what the research gap is. Yeah? We don't normally have it as a topic. It should just be clear what has been done and what has not been done. So if you can just move to that
Doctor.
research gap. If you look at the publications you received, though they are not dissertations, but if from just the discussions alone, you could see clearly this is the research gap. This is something that has not been done. So it wouldn't be an explicit topic saying research gap. And then the other thing is it would be clear in the discussion, in the background discussion here, in this background discussion, it would be very, very clear. Let me see if I can. If you move further, Kavuma, can you move up, a bit up? No, up, not down. Not the problem statement. Up, go move up. Scroll up. First stop there. Now, in this background discussion of yours, in no, go back to the background discussion before we get to research gap.
Background.
Introduction.
Move to the background
introduction.
discussion. Scroll up, not down, scroll up.
Under background.
Under background.
Background. Is this it? Okay. Now, in this background discussion, what we should be seeing is, yes, talk about fleet management, and then the fleecing of fuel and so on and so forth. But we should also be seeing in this discussion, we should be seeing what research has been done as far as fuel tracking systems is concerned. What research has been done, especially in systems that have been put up that can effectively monitor, and what has not been done. If also you also discover that most systems in this period, the research indicates that most systems in this fleet management in sub-Saharan area, the systems that have been that can be used are not for the context. That all these that have been developed for the developed world. Now we should be seeing here in these sections a more thorough discussion indicating that indicating what has been done, what research has been done as far as fleet management systems are concerned. Okay, fuel tracking systems have been concerned. Those systems that track something as it's being transported. What research has been done? If most research has focused on design of systems in a developed world, what about in a developing world? What research has been done? Then it shows that very little has been done, little or nothing, as far as what is an appropriate design for sub-Saharan Africa. Then then this is where you indicate in the research gap, because here you'd have discussed it thoroughly. Then it would be very clear that this is where the gap is. So that literature review should be focusing on that. I don't know if this group understands and everyone else understands the point I'm raising.
Yes, Doctor, we have understood you very well.
Okay.
Yes, Doctor.
Okay, then. So can we move to the next group?
Doctor, I want to make a request because we already submitted the work.
Mhm.
I was requesting if we can make these changes and then we resend the work to you again.
It is okay. It is okay.
Thank you, Doctor and team, for listening.
Okay, can we have the next group? This was group 2.
Good morning, everyone.
Kivuna, could you stop sharing so that next group shares?
And Doctor.
Yes. Good morning once again.
Good morning.
Good morning.
This is Agnes Navofu, and together with my group
Can you share,
members,
Agnes,
we are
please?
going to. Yes, Doctor, I'm sharing. Are you able to see the screen?
Yes, we are.
Yes, it's visible.
The Word document.
Yes, it's visible.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. This is our group members. We are 6 in the group, and we decided to come up with this title of our research topic. So we are exploring the use of an artificial-based intelligent tutoring system in supporting early grade learning among children. So our case study was Buikwe district in Uganda. So I remember very well when Doctor was telling us about when you're selecting a research area or a case study, you have to put in mind the costs of the research. So since I'm in Buikwe district, it wouldn't cost us so much. So the transport costs will be cut. Okay, so this is our title of our research. We started with the introduction. We wanted to tell the people or the person who would who is listening, and so that the person would pick interest and adopt, or the different schools would adopt. So we started with the introduction by saying that in 1956, artificial intelligence was defined as the science and engineering of creating intelligent machines. This was according to this author in 2023. He realized that the journal is not for long ago. It is some 2 years back. So it encompasses a range of technologies designed to simulate human intelligence. So the reason as to why we brought this is because we want human intelligence in education. So we want to help these children adopt AI that will help them in their education. So in education, AI is deployed in various ways. We go ahead to tell the reader or the person who is going to adopt this, who is going to take up this, that in education, AI is developed in various ways, including the personalized learning platforms, grading system, teaching assistants, and then the AI-driven data analytics for curriculum management. So if we want to support these early grade learning, early grade children, we have to support them with data analytics for curriculum management and also automated grading systems. So we went ahead to say that AI is a strong technology which is used to supplement existing education systems. You realize that the existing education systems are not effective. So that is why we came up with this topic, and the effectiveness of this AI-based tutoring system remains a critical issue because it has the potential to impact educational practices and curriculum delivery, all of which are very pivotal in achieving high quality education. All we want is the high quality education in our young children, early grades. So if we want that early grade involvement in AI, we have to first introduce where this came from. So AI's impact on education support has been researched. It is not a new topic. It is not something new that we are going to develop it, but it has been researched in a variety of countries and regions with differing education system. You realize that the education here in Uganda is not the same education system in maybe Germany or USA. But since they've adopted it and used it in those education systems, then that means it is very possible in Uganda. However, the use of AI in supporting early grade learning is still an evolving field. There are not very many schools or countries that are using it. So according to this author in 2021, he said that AI can assist in the management of curriculum by providing tutors with adaptive learning resources that cater to the varying learning needs of the students. So that means if you know that your child is weak in maybe spellings, then that means you'll come up with something that will cater for that child. So we have the AI-powered analytics, which are helping educators track student progress. So if you know that your child is suffering from maybe English, he has English problems, maybe spellings, maybe construction, you're able to track. If you give them something, if the AI system gives them something, then you're able to track that analytics. So we went ahead to say that in Tanzania, you realize that I started globally, now I'm in Tanzania. So AI adoption in education is still limited, but growing. Limited meaning it is there, but not used widely. So it is growing, where the government has partnered with NGOs, you realize that if the government is putting in that initiative to partner with the NGOs, that means it is very useful. So it is partnering with the NGOs and international organizations to explore its potential in supporting early grade learning. So that means it has been implemented already in Tanzania, but the government wants to make sure that it is adopted like throughout the entire country. So according to a case study carried out by this author in 2022, found that AI applications could support tutors in developing personalized learning plans. So if this has been done and this has been researched about, but it's not already, it is not yet there in our case study, then we want to come up with it. So as AI technologies continue to be adopted, it is expected that the tutoring system will be more data-driven and efficient, given the research that has been conducted in Tanzania and also in Kenya. So while AI's impact varies depending on regional context and infrastructure, you realize that we have issues with internet, the infrastructure, the roads. But the overall trend points towards AI playing a vital role in supporting early grade learning. So that was our introduction. That is how we've introduced our topic. And now the background. So in the background, we have the literature review. Literature review meaning what have we read that has caught our eye to say that this also should be applied here in Uganda, or this also should be picked up in our country. So we started by saying that how did the AI come about? How did machine learning come about? So it was in the winter of 1958 where a 30-year-old, there was a scientist named Roseblant who was going to office. Then he met a journalist. But because this scientist had no way of explaining to the whole world, he met this journalist. You know what journalists do? They make sure that information gets to the different individuals or to everyone. So he unveiled a remarkable invention that in the nascent days of computing, there is a star. So he declared the first machine which can have an original idea. So this is where AI comes in. So where a machine having an idea is already artificial intelligence. So he was the perception of a program inspired by human neurons that ran on a state-of-the-art computer. So we have human neurons and a computer. So basically that is artificial intelligence. So we got this information from Ian Sample of 2023. So this scientists believe that it was the dawn of a new era. That was in 1958. So the dawn of a new era, and the New York evidently agreed because no one can live this. If they tell you that a machine is thinking like a human, then that means it is everyone is going to believe you at that instant. So he went on to say that it strikes us as the first serious rival to the human brain. So the journalist wrote, that is how the journalist reported. So he asked that the perception could not, what AI can't do is love, hope, and despair. So in short, it says, if we don't understand the human sex drive, why should we expect a machine to? So in other words, what we don't understand, even machines will not understand, since machines are meant to think like humans. Now, machines could learn just as children learn with the help from rewards. You realize that if you're rewarding a child that child will perform better. And if you're punishing, the child will know that I've been punished for this, I shouldn't repeat it. So that is now how machines are also learning. So now some machines could also modify themselves by writing their own code. Okay, and now the term artificial intelligence didn't appear until 1955 when there was a computer scientist at Dartmouth College in New Hampshire who used the phrase in a proposal for summer school. You realize that he wanted to bring artificial intelligence in his summer school in 1955. So today, machine learning rewards and modifications are basic concepts of AI according to Ian Sample. And we went ahead to find other literature. This is according to Jia Hong Su in 2023. He said that, so after Ian Sample telling us that the term artificial intelligence first appeared in 1955, we see John Su in 2023 telling us that it is defined as the science and engineering of creating intelligent machines that solve various problems through natural language processing, neural networks. Remember, at first we saw that they use human neurons and then the machines. Now we have neural networks and then machine learning. So since then, artificial intelligence has been rapidly changing the face of modern society, and also its influence on various sectors is becoming evident. We are seeing artificial intelligence in very many sectors. So since our sector is education, so one of the most promising and relevant areas of AI application is education. So the emergence of AI in education has significantly transformed the landscape of learning and like what we are using right now. So this is a basic example of AI, what we are using. So one of the most impactful applications of AI is the development of the intelligent tutoring system. For example, we can have an example like Moodle, which have reshaped traditional instructional methods. You don't have to get a pen and paper and write everything. Child is name, child is date of birth, all those you can use this intelligent tutoring system, and everything is done. So it has reshaped traditional instructional methods by offering personalized, adaptive, and student-centered learning experience. So researchers, us also, we've added ourselves to the researchers now. We've extensively explored the role of AI-driven ITS in enhancing academic performance. By ITS, I mean intelligent tutoring systems. So improving engagement and addressing learning challenges. That was according to Muhammad Ali, who published an article in 2024. So in the context of global changes, you know, we had COVID, we had different. So if at all there was this intelligence-based tutoring system by the time COVID came in, you realize that children would not have repeated classes. Children would not. Children grew older, but in lower classes. Like you find a child of 13 years in P4. So in the context of global changes in education systems, driven by technological advancements, there is need to implement artificial intelligence in the educational process, most especially public schools. So technologies that use machine learning algorithms and neural networks, they open up new horizons for approaches to learning and improving the quality of education. We borrowed this statement from this author who published his article in 2025. So I want to see what are some of those advantages of using the ITS. Someone might say, why are you forcing us to take on ITS at our school? But according to the International Scientific Online Conference, this was entitled The Benefits of AI in Education, Revolutionizing Learning and Teaching. It was published in 2025. Some of the benefits of AI in the education sector, we have personalized learning, which is with its scientific evidence, which shows that studies have shown that personalized learning models driven by AI lead to better student engagement. So a student can always go back and the way, Doctor, you always give us these videos. We don't only rely on the notes, but if we go back to these videos, we can always remember what you said. Then we will be like, oh, so that is a personalized learning. You always go back to what has been said and remind yourself. Then we have enhanced teacher effectiveness and efficiency. Teachers don't have to move from, for example, imagine if a doctor, you always to move from, you said Chenjojo to Lubaga every Friday and Saturday. So it will be very inconveniencing for you. But with this AI, there is enhanced effectiveness and efficiency. Another one is facilitating lifelong learning and skill development. So you always have the resources. You always go back, you always refer to those resources. If you forget something, for example, if it was maybe coming up with how to make liquid soap, you forget some stage, you always go back to the notes. Instead of a tutor coming in physically, then he leaves, the human brain always forgets. You forget one step, then that means what you wanted to do or to come up with will not work out. So you can always refer because of this AI-based tutoring system. So the scientific evidence is that research conducted by the Brookings Institution in 2021 found that AI-powered platforms such as Coursera and EDX were highly effective in helping adult learners upskill and reskill. So if adult learners, adults always they have a lot of issues. They are always thinking of where do I start from? If adults have been helped, how about young children who only think of dad will provide, mommy will provide? So this one will help a lot. Then we have addressing equity in education. We don't have to say the journey is too long. Let girls stay, boys can study. Everyone gets the same education. Is someone saying something? Okay, so we have, so those are some of the advantages of AI in education. So today, AI is applied in different sectors. That is the health sector, management, accounting, business, project management, and data analytics. So not forgetting our education. So when Zhang Liu in 2022 analyzed children interaction with an AI chatbot, and
Hello, Agnes. Hello, is Agnes there?
I
Agnes,
think
are
we
you
have
there?
missed her.
I think maybe something is wrong with her network somewhere.
But the presentation is still on.
Hmm.
It could be a network problem
Yeah. I think maybe someone else can take on.
from their team.
Yeah.
Maybe she's hotspotting, and if someone calls you, it
Yes.
disorganizes the connection.
Can someone else in her group continue the presentation?
I'm back.
Yes,
back.
yes, Agnes. Sorry about the network.
I was connecting to someone's phone and picked up a call.
I understand.
Okay, let me reshare and continue. Okay.
Gertrude.
Are you able to view? Hello?
Not yet. It's just coming up.
The page is loading. Aye.
Now we can see.
There we go.
Okay. So, as I was saying, I ended here that according to this author, he analyzed, I was still explaining that the feel a child gets when he's interacting with a computer or the system is different from when he's in class. So we went ahead to say that in recent times, personalized learning has attracted a lot of attention due to its ability to cater to different abilities, interests, and paces. You realize that children don't learn at the same time. You might say A, then there is, after some time, that child will remember that the teacher said A, but did not get it in class. So with the introduction of the best tutoring system, that means the different interests and paces will be dealt with. And this was according to this author in 2022. But the current education systems fail in the provision of such customization, because a teacher will just come, teach, and then go away. So it is up to the child to either remember or forget. That is why even most of them, you tell them what, you ask the child, what did you learn today? And the child can't remember. So because of the current education system. So according to this author in 2025, went ahead to say that one of the most critical advantages of these tutors is their availability, which means democratization of education to learners in remote or underserved regions. So even if a learner is in which village, you will get access to this information. And this was conducted by UNESCO in 2022, when where they said that these children form a size of the 260 million children. Imagine if every school in Boyikwe district or was to adopt this AI tutoring system. That means out of the 260 million children that lack basic schooling would be some, because not all the 260 are in Boyikwe district, but maybe 2 millions or 3 millions would be helped, and they would be improved. There would be improvement in their learning, and they will get a lot of information and help. Now, for instance, in Kenya, in Kenya, there is an app called Elimu Hub, which is AI driven. It is an initiative that enables access to localized curricula to arrange students in rural areas. Imagine that. If it is in Kenya, then that means we can also bring it in Uganda, but in Uganda, it's not yet there. So if it has been applied in Kenya, our neighborhood, then that means it can also be applied here. So according to the literature review, we tried to, we started from the broad area, then we our research area. So that was our literature review. Now we go to the problem statement. So our problem statement is that learners of all capabilities struggle to keep up with a conventional schooling framework. And also instructors have always been given more work than they can handle. You find a teacher with 200 papers to mark. After marking, they have another class. So a teacher can have like 1,000 scripts to mark. And also after marking, they have to grade. And after grading, they have to give the positions, who was the best, who was the second, so like that. So this was according to this author, to Budin, in 2024. So with many Ugandan children in primary grades struggling with basic reading and math skills due to large class sizes, limited teacher interaction, and inadequate learning materials, these deficiencies often lead to grade repetition. So a child can repeat a class. A child can repeat a class even 4 times, because one of the things they don't attend, when it rains, they don't come. When some of them first go, they take their cows for grazing first, then they go to class. So they reach when that subject has ended. So these deficiencies often lead to grade repetition and school dropout. So we connected search and realized that in Germany, various AI-supported tutoring approaches have been developed, and most existing systems use a feedback-based tutoring approach for supporting students. So if a child doesn't do an assignment, is able to give reason, and the reason is given through that system. So second, the AI technique deployed to support feedback-based tutoring approaches can identify the student's intention. So the solution strategy implemented in the student's solution. So a tutor is able to read it through and realize the intention of the students. So results were obtained where students performed better than they did before the introduction of the technique, the AI technique. So, and also in Kenya, so we've gone away from Germany, now we are in our neighborhood in Kenya. The effectiveness of AI on management of the curriculum and instruction, according to Mungwe in 2025, showed an increase in the performance of the students as compared to when there was no AI. So this is basic evidence that with the introduction of this AI tutoring system, there will be a great improvement in the education and in the grades of these lower primary children. So we went on to have our main objective. So our main objective was to investigate how AI-based tutoring system can improve basic reading and math skills among Ugandan primary pupils in comparison to the traditional classroom learning environments. In this, even if a child doesn't come to class, but even if a child doesn't come to class, but he's doing the work that has been provided to that child by the tutor. So our sub-objectives, we realize that sub-objectives are the ones that will lead us to the main objective. So one of them was to assess the current challenges faced by primary Ugandan pupils in reading and math skills. What are they facing? Is it the complicated formulas? Is it the complicated maybe blending, those things, spellings? Okay, the second one was is to identify AI-based tutoring systems used in other countries and evaluate their capability. So we've realized that this research is not new according to literature, but it has been used elsewhere. So we shall use those systems, we shall identify them and evaluate their capability on the children. And also the third one was to determine the potential impact of the AI-supported tutoring on pupils' performance in reading and math. So now after we've identified, now we want to determine how can they use it. And then we determine how the teachers and we explore the teachers and learners' perceptions of the AI-assisted learning in the primary school context. So this was our main objective, followed by the sub-objectives. The third one was to recommend strategies for integrating it into the school. Now that we've tested it, we've got what has been used, we know how it impacted the other children in other regions. Now we want to recommend the strategies for integrating it into the curriculum. So these are the research questions that helped or guided our research. So what challenges hinder pupils in Uganda from mastering basic reading and math skills? What are those challenges? And also, what AI-supported tutoring systems have been applied in other countries to address similar challenges? So if it is the complicated, maybe formulae, then which systems have been applied in other countries? And also, how can AI tutoring interventions be adopted to suit the primary school context? What impact does AI supported tutoring have on learners' performance? Because that one we need it. Because if it is not impacting, then that means that it is useless. Because a solution is supposed to solve something. So if the solution is not solving anything, then that means it is useless. What are the perceptions of teachers and learners towards the use of AI-supported tutoring? So what do they say about this compared to what they had? And also, what strategies can be recommended for integrating AI tutoring into the primary curriculum? So this was some of our research questions. Now we went on to the theoretical framework. So these are theories that will guide our research. So one of the theories was the cognitive load management and multimedia learning. So this theory was, we borrowed Sweller and Tabu, we borrowed their article. This theory emphasizes that learners' working memory is limited, and learning is most effective when instructional design reduces extraneous load while promoting gamen processing. So we realized that AI tutoring system operationalize this by adjusting tasks which are difficult based on the learner's performance. Then it brings it in different formats: audio, visuals, and also text. So if it is a math problem, 2 plus 2, you have the text of 2 plus 2, then the audio which talks in a voice, 2 plus 2, then also the visuals. So that is one of our theory that we shall adopt. Then we have another one, which is constructivist learning theory, which we borrowed from, which was brought by these two individuals, which emphasizes that learners actively construct knowledge through engagement and interaction. So an AI tutoring system provide interactive, adaptive tasks and immediate feedback. So a child can try out different, maybe different spelling exercises, different formulas, addition, subtraction, division, like that, and they get immediate feedback. So if the learner gets 2 plus 2 and it says 3, then the AI tutoring system will say, no, try again, you're almost there. So with this, the learner will easily learn quickly. Then, as Dr. said, that we can have two theories, but for us, we had adopted 3, and the third one was artificial intelligence in education paradigm, which describes how AI systems implement these principles, such as adaptive scaffolding, real-time feedback, and also gamified reinforcement. And this, we borrowed this from Acevedo in 2023 that was his article. So after the theoretical framework, we went ahead to propose the research method, and the research method or design that we proposed was the case study research. So we said that it will be best adopted because our research looks more intensely at an individual or a small participant pool. We are not going to get all schools or all children in a certain school, but we are going to get some of them. So concluding on about the given participants or a group, and only in that specific context. So this will be achieved by using sampling as our tool. So we shall sample, whereby we shall select sample schools from different demographics. We have the rural areas, the semi-rural, and also the urban areas. So since Doctor, in your previous lectures, you said that you can bring in your case study in the methodology. So we remembered that and brought our case study in here, and we said under urban areas in Brika district. So from this course, we shall select learners from other classes. So we shall select and also some teachers. We shall select some, not all learners from the different classes. So we said this research will be phenomenology based. That is, we shall stay. Okay, we shall take time and spend. We shall spend some time with these children as well as teachers, so that we observe their way of life, the time they arrive at school, maybe probably when it is raining, when it is too hot, and how they come from their homes. Is the distance very long? Is the road muddy? Things like that, and how they behave during the mathematics and English lessons. So if we shall see whether they are always sleeping in these classes, are they always discussing, not paying attention, and also as well as how learners feel during these lessons. You realize that some people, when they are going for maybe a specific subject, there is a way they feel. I don't want to go. I don't want this class. When will it end? Let me go. When is it going to end? So those things, those are the ones that we are going to observe. So this will help us capture rich and detailed information. And so the figure below will guide us. We have the narrative study, whereby we shall, as we are observing, we are also getting the narration. How do you find the math class? How is their teacher teaching that math lesson? So we have the phenomenology. Using our theory, we already had our case, our case study. So we also shall employ ethnography, because this is the study of culture. You realize that because of some cultures, they don't want to maybe on Fridays, they are not to study on Fridays. So all those things will be captured in this. We shall use observation and interviews as our data collection methods, and these are our citations that we managed to come up with. And that is all. Thank you very much for listening. Yeah.
Thank you, Agnes and colleagues. Do we have any question or comment from the class? Is there any question or comment, any observation?
Doctor.
Yes, please.
Yes, good morning, Doctor.
Good morning, David.
Yes, Agnes, thanks for that presentation. One, for me as a person, They reached a point where I got a little bit lost. And particularly on the problem statement, one thing I saw was that the way Agnes stated the problem lacked, it didn't clearly focus on the problem. So I didn't see that in her problem statement, because Agnes went on mixing too many contexts from Uganda, Germany, Kenya, without clearly showing us the current problem being studied. And then the other thing that I saw in Agnes is that the problem statement was also not direct.
Yes.
It wasn't direct. Yeah, because while she was reading it, it wasn't direct. It wasn't addressing what Agnes was trying to explain to us. Then the other thing is Agnes over-relied on citations. When you look at her problem statement, it's full of citations all over. And then we don't get to understand what really Agnes is trying to address. But the citations are so much. Maybe, Doctor, you can advise us on that. That is what I saw as a problem to my side. Then the other thing I also saw in the theories, Agnes's theories were okay, but Agnes gave us citations on swellers of which was of 2000, and Agnes didn't tell us about the most recent, because it's good when you tell us the founder of this theory, but at least the current theories that are talking about that foundation. You give us that background. Although you're using this, but they are current. How have they improved the other theory, and how are you going to use this theory in your problem that you're trying to give to us? That I also didn't see it.
Thank you, David. Now,
yes, thank you so much.
I think I get where David is coming from. I think let me make it very, very specific. First of all, Agnes, I want to thank you for the work. You've really you've read a lot. You really read a lot. I think we understand the history of AI, its significance to education. But I think what is lacking is that what is the research gap? Yes, we know there are inefficiencies in Uganda's education system, but we are ICT professionals. We are not educational specialists. We need to know what research has not been done as far as AI in the education system is concerned, and from the ICTIS perspective, as we understand who we are in our profession. What has not been done? Is it we have AI systems being implemented in education systems that are modern, but we want to see it in a semi-modern or rural context, which would be the appropriate one, design one for it, or implement one and look at gaps that may arise out of it. We need to see this from what is the research problem? That is the question. What from an ICT perspective? If you go, I think Agnes, if you go to scroll down to your research objectives. Just scroll down to your research objectives. Stop there. Now, everyone, if I would ask you, this research objective, is it focused on IS, ICT, or is it focused on education?
Doctor, I think basically focuses on education.
Yes. So now you realize, Agnes, you and your group are looking at things from an education perspective, not from an ICT-IS perspective. we should be seeing this from an ICT-IS perspective. What research has been done from an IS-ICT perspective? If I'm an IS person, I would be looking at which technology is appropriate for my context in Uganda's education system. I would be looking at that. I'd be looking at design. I'd be looking at evaluation of the system, not the education system, of the IS system. I would be looking at everything from if you're an IS student. If let's say we have in our class we have ICT students, we have IS, we have computer forensics. Now, if I'm an IS student, I'm looking at I may start from methodology. I think there was a group that looked at methodology, design methodology. I would look at the design itself. I would look at implementation and adoption. I would look at evaluation. If I am an ICT student, what am I looking for? Is it the education part or is it the IS side? What is the gap? It could be a gap in design, that we don't have something for the context, the Ugandan context, a developing context. Let's say for a developing context. What is the gap? Do we have IA designed? Can IA be designed for a developing context? That would be that. Then look at implementation and adoption. Is there any research that has looked at implementation and adoption? Then there is evaluation. That we have something, we have IA worldwide and it's accessible, but we are evaluating it from an ICT-IS perspective, not from an education perspective, to see whether, because if I start talking about cognitive abilities and so on and so forth, then I'm becoming a professional teacher. And I'm not. I am ICT. So for me, I would be looking at, if I'm evaluating, I'm evaluating accessibility. I'm evaluating the technical side of things from an ICT perspective. Those areas. So I think what I would say, what I have appreciated is your literature review. You've really focused on that. You've done quite a bit, but it should be really focused on that, on an ICT-IS perspective. I think that's where, David, you got lost from. What is the problem? Yes, we know IA is very good, but what is the research problem as far as IS is concerned, IS and ICT? Agnes, I don't know if you and your colleagues understand what I'm raising.
Yes, doctor, we understand.
Okay, but thank you for this work. Can we have the next group, please?
Okay, Agnes, stop sharing, then I can share.
Henry, did you have a question or comment?
I was asking if we could be excused to present first as computer
Forensics, yes, please,
student.
because I think you have to leave the class. Emmanuel,
But it's okay.
can you allow the computer forensics to present, because I think they have another class?
It's okay.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, doctor. Good morning, colleagues.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning, Henry.
Okay, let me share my screen. I hope you're able to see my screen.
Yes, we are.
Yes, it's visible.
Once again, good morning to you all. This is the works of computer forensics class. We are made out of 4 members: myself, Henry, Galileo Moses, Komanji Martha, and Ocheng John Bosco. So our focus area, our research, we decided to look at this may be a controversial topic, but in our field, it is something that is worth exploring. So we are looking at enhancing mobile forensics acquisition techniques in the age of secure enclaves and cloud integration. Let me introduce this and we dive into this. So there is an increasing complexity of mobile operating systems, especially in the current hardware-based securities like Apple and Android, with a technology called secure enclave, or in Android, what they would call the trusted execution environment. So this is an area in the mobile phone architecture where pins are stored, fingerprints are stored, face recognition data is stored. So in the field of digital forensics, there's a gap that we have seen where investigators get a challenge into accessing information in the TTE, which is the trusted execution environment, or for Apple, which is called the secure enclave in mobile devices. So most of the primary carriers, so there are recent advances in this, where Apple has introduced the secure enclave, and Android is having the ARM trusted zone-based strategy execution environments, where all these pins or forward. So our main focus for the study, we are proposing to evaluate the current limitations of these developments, focusing on forensic study and basically acquisition for these kinds of devices, bearing in mind that nowadays most of the devices are now tied to the cloud. So what are the researchers saying? What are other people in the literature review, what are they saying? So as I've mentioned earlier, this is a modern advancement that has come up with especially manufacturers in terms of security for devices, ensuring the privacy for mobile users, and also other devices in that regard. Many of these are operating systems that have been out there on the market, employing these kinds of technologies, that is the secure enclave and the trusted or the TTEs. And enhancing mobile forensic acquisition in this new age, especially with the secure enclaves in mind and the cloud integration of mobile devices, has basically led to forensic investigators thinking into in mind how they can be able to extract metadata from devices and also other artifacts. And some other scholars also have pointed out a strong collaboration and standardization with cloud service providers to ensure they provide forensic friendly APIs to ease their works. And also bearing in mind there are procedures and tools that can adopt quickly with the OS updates and possibly through exploiting resistant designs or exploitation discovery. So some researchers have said there is Zhang and et al. Who show that secure influence such as zone isolation secrets limit forensic access, forcing investigators to rely on indirect artifacts such as metadata, logs, and sync traces. And also reviews of cloud forensic highlight procedural and technical gaps, including inconsistent logging, heuristical issues, and the need for provider cooperation. This is talking about the manufacturers and cloud service providers, the Google, Apple, and the Note. So this is noted by Malik and et al. In their research on in 2024. So there are also other reports in the industry that tools often fail on newer iOS and Android releases. For example, celebrating ability to unlock, that is one of a tool that is used in forensics analysis and acquisition. Its inability to unlock iPhones, especially on the version of iOS 17. This is pointed out by Hardwick in that article, and it reflects between device security updates and also forensic tool capabilities. So vendors recommend multi-pronged approaches combining device analysis, cloud evidence, and strong valid procedures. This is by Oxygen Forensics, that is in 2023. So all these studies reveal a gap where early works characterize these challenges. There is limited empirical validation of acquisition frameworks tailored to the enclave protected in cloud integration. So they are pointing out the difficulty of investigators are getting access to metadata in the secure enclave section of the mobile devices and gadgets that are tied to the cloud. So this is hindering forensic acquisition works. So this is the problem statement. So current mobile forensic acquisition tools and methods extract data from devices with the secure enclave in mind, with the modern encryption schemes that I have talked about, that is the secure enclave and the TTE for Android. And most of these are at the OS level protection. So there is a lack of a standardized, repeatable methods for handling complex systems. This is undermining reliability of the forensic investigations and reduces the admissibility of evidence collected in the courts. And therefore, we are saying there is an urgent need to explore and improve forensic acquisition techniques that bypass or work around protections without compromising evidence, and also bearing in mind the reliability to correlate cloud stored data with on-device artifacts, but ensure integrity, authenticity, and repeatability of the forensic procedure that a forensic investigator may take on. So there is no validated, repeatable, and forensically sound acquisition framework that works around the modern devices of today, which are tied to the cloud stored evidence and preserving integrity and the chain of custody. What are the research objectives here? The primary objective is to develop and validate an enhanced mobile forensic acquisition framework that can effectively handle encrypted mobile devices and cloud synchronized data while ensuring forensic soundness. That is the ethical aspect in nature. And what are the objectives, the specific objectives or the secondary objectives, I would say? Number one, to identify the limitations of existing forensic tools when used on devices protected by secure enclave, that is for iOS, and TTE for Android. Two, to identify best practices for correlating cloud drive artifacts with the local device data. To develop procedural guidelines for ensuring evidence integrity and replicability in cloud and / mobile forensic investigations, and also to stimulate and implement real-world forensic scenarios using contemporary devices and applications, looking at maybe WhatsApp, Signal, or Telegram, and the others. The research questions to guide us on that. How can mobile forensic acquisition techniques be improved to efficiently address the challenges posed by secure enclave and cloud integration in modern mobile devices? Two, what are the technical limitations of current forensic acquisition methods when dealing with secure enclaves? What strategies or tools have emerged to bypass or lawfully extract data from secure enclave from data integrity? What legal and technical challenges are involved in acquiring cloud stored data during mobile forensic investigations. Number 5, how can forensic maintain data integrity and chain of custody, which is very important when the your enclaves and cloud environments. 6, how effective are current commercial and open source forensic tools in acquiring and analyzing data from secure enclaves and integrated applications? So what is the theoretical framework we are looking at? So the study we are planning to apply 3 theories here. Digital evidence integrity theory, which establishes how to validate evidence integrity and authenticity through chain of custody and repeatability. System and isolation models, explaining enclave and TTE mechanisms that lead access. This is by Zheng. Then there is cloud forensic and legal process model. So frameworks guiding lawful cross jurisdictional evidence acquisition and collaboration with providers. That is for cloud or Google Cloud and the others. So this is by Malik and et al. So these frameworks will help bridge the technical methods, that is correlation with legal admissibility. What is the significance of this? This research contribute to the field of computer forensics. 1, by providing a structured, repeatable framework for mobile/cloud forensic acquisition, enhancing the admissibility and credibility of digital evidence in courtrooms, bridging the gap between technical capabilities and legal expectations in forensic science, and informing training programs and SOP development in both academic and law enforcement contexts. So the findings will support forensic examiners, digital investigators, and cybersecurity professionals in navigating the complex landscape of modern mobile forensics, especially in cases involved in encrypted communications and cloud-based evidence storage. What is the research methodology or the research design that we shall take approach? So we shall employ a mixed method research design incorporating both qualitative and quantitative approaches. And one of them will be experimental case studies, where we are planning to look at modern smartphones like Android and iOS, which are configured with these security features, that is the secure enclave and the TTE, and then attempt logical file system and physical acquisition using the leading forensic tools like Celibate, there's Magnet, and Oxygen Forensic Detective. Then we shall also simulate different acquisition states for these kinds of devices: the unlocked, locked, power off, or cloud integrated. And then the other is to look at tool and evaluation. So here we plan to do measurements of performance of the tools, looking at the artifact completeness and the hash-based validation of evidence. This is basically looking at the integrity of the data you have acquired. And also we shall do comparative results with cloud-derived data using legal authorized methods, looking at examples like takeout, iOS access, and then also we plan to have structured and legal experts on practicability and admissibility, and also benchmark against existing methods using metrics like artifact completeness, reproducibility, and validation success. This one we looked at is as an option, but we still considering it. Expert interviews, I think I mentioned it earlier here. So structured interviews with experienced digital forensics analysts, legal experts, and law enforcement officers to validate practical relevance. This might be a difficult one for us, looking at the Uganda police and maybe CMI. It might be a difficult one, but we are considering it. What are expected limitations here? There's rapid operating system and hardware updates. So these may reduce the tool effectiveness, and this study will address this by focusing on inference methods and reproducibility. So then there is also vendor cooperations. Those are like the Apple and Android. So this study will document these gaps and also propose practical recommendations in doing computer forensics works. So these are some of the references that we try to look at in our proposed study. Thank you so much for listening. I welcome questions, compliments.
Hello.
Yes, David.
Hello. Yes, Mr. Ndaula, thanks for that presentation. I have just 2 or 3 questions. One
Yes.
is that through the discussion that you have given to us, I didn't see the theoretical framework explained, the various research the theories that have been done. I didn't see it in what you discussed. Then number 2, I saw 2 added topics that were not guided in our assignment, about where you talked about the significance of the study, and then you also talked about the expected limitations.
Okay.
Actually, I don't know where that came from. Then 2, in your literature review, I think the research gap was missing. Maybe you can guide me, because that is one thing I didn't hear.
Okay.
Yeah. Over to you. Thank you so much.
Yes, Henry, do you want to respond to him, or?
I can take on another one.
Okay.
If there's any.
Is there any other comment? So, Henry, I think in addition to David, if I go to the topic, the topic is talking about enhancing enhancing mobile forensic acquisition techniques in the age of secure enclaves and cloud integration.
Yes.
Then you come to the objective. You are developing, you seem to be developing an artifact. And then when we come to even the specific objectives themselves, you call them secondary objectives, but they should be specific objectives. Yeah? So so if we see here, you're developing and validating an enhanced mobile forensic acquisition framework that effectively handles encrypted mobile devices and cloud synchronized. Now, if I was to go back to David's comment, we should have been seeing in your background a discussion on showing us that there is actually a gap.
Okay.
There is a gap on encrypted mobile devices. On it says to validate and enhanced. There's actually a gap on this, that this doesn't exist.
Okay.
Yeah, that it is something that is needed, but it doesn't exist. That should be in your literature review, and then which should then now it should be quite clear on that. Now, if you're developing this, if you're designing, when you come to your specific objectives, yeah. Let me come back to this. When you come to your specific objectives, we should be seeing that every single objective that you have, specific objective, leads to this, the overall objective. So the question of $1 million question you should be asking yourself is that for each of the specific objectives you've stated, how do they lead to the design of this?
Okay.
Yeah. So if I start looking at the existing forensic tools, how they are limited, how does that lead to the design of this? Does it make any contribution?
Okay.
Does it make any contribution? If I'm designing something, what's the first thing I need to do? I need to be identifying requirements and specifications, not looking at what is lacking in the back. So each of the specific objectives should be leading should help make a contribution to designing. Then move now to your research methods. Can move to your research methods. Just scroll down to research methods.
Yes, I'm there, Doctor.
Okay. Now, in research methods, if you're designing an artifact, one of the first research methods we should be seeing is design science, because you're designing an artifact. 2, you want to, I think, focus on specific technologies, that is Android and iOS.
Yes.
I don't know if that is case or experimental research, laboratory experiments.
Yes, experimental.
Yes, so I think it should be design science and the laboratory experiments. Those should be your 2 primary research methods, yeah? Then if I go to the theoretical framework, I think let me emphasize where David was coming from. Like I had guided with the other groups, pick a theory or 2 theories that are going to help you design and evaluate. Okay? pick two
Yes, Doctor.
theories that are going to help you design your artifact. And if you're looking at enhancement, then the next thing is design and evaluation. Just two will do. One or two,
Oh,
should do.
okay, Doctor.
And when we're talking about it in the theoretical framework section, we discuss the two theories, the two or more. If it's two or three, we discuss them. So we don't just outline them, but we discuss them in detail, explaining what they are and how they are going to help us in the design and evaluation process, if that is what we're focusing on.
Yes, Doctor.
Okay. So I hope those are helpful.
They are very, very helpful, Doctor. I indeed didn't look into, I think it didn't come out, the gap didn't come out as well. And also, I guess we shall also focus on the design science and the laboratory experiments as we come up with the design.
Okay, thank you. Can we have the next
You're
group,
welcome,
please?
Doctor.
Thank you. Can we have the next group, please?
Excuse me, Doctor.
Good morning, team.
Good morning, Kaluya.
Is my screen visible?
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
Just a minute. Okay, I wanted to be able to scroll. Okay, good morning once again. Those are the group members in my team. Chikome Computer Grace, myself, Kaluya Emmanuel, Kayanja Edward, Kiza Gloria, Luyombia Pius, and Kintu George William. Our research topic is cybersecurity in the era of Internet of Things. Looking at the challenges and their likely solutions to those challenges. In our introduction, we start by defining what the Internet of Things is. Internet of Things refers to a network of physical devices, vehicles, appliances, and other physical objects that are embedded with sensors, software, and network connectivity, allowing them to collect and share data. These devices are also known as smart objects. They range from simple smart home devices like smart thermostats to wearables like smartwatches and radio frequency identification enabled clothing to complex industrial machinery and transportation systems. In our introduction, we look so much at what Internet of Things is. As you can see, here we are saying that this can include, but not limited to, the following. We are saying that we mentioned some of them. They are used in monitoring environmental conditions in farms. They are used in managing traffic patterns with smart cars and other smart automotive devices, controlling machines and processes in factories, and also tracking inventory and shipments in warehouses. The potential applications of IoT are vast and varied, and its impact is already being felt across a wide range of industries, including manufacturing, transportation, healthcare, and agriculture. As the number of internet-connected devices continue to grow, IoT is likely to play an increasingly important role in shaping our world, transforming the way that we live, work, and interact with each other. In an enterprise context, IoT devices are used to monitor a wide range of parameters such as temperature, humidity, air quality, energy consumption, and machine performance. This data can be analyzed in real time to identify patterns, trends, and anomalies that can help business optimize their operations and improve their bottom line. As IoT becomes more closely integrated with everyday systems, lifestyles, and businesses, it calls for the role of cybersecurity. Cybersecurity encompasses all of the technology and operation is employed to safeguard devices, their respective platforms, and networks from cyber attacks. The Internet of Things ecosystem, comprising interconnected devices from smart homes to industrial sensors, has expanded rapidly. The worldwide IoT security market is expected to expand at a compound annual growth rate of 33.7% from 2018 to 2023 due to the increasing number of cyber attacks to 2023 due to the increasing number of cyber attacks on IoT devices, growing IoT security regulations, and raising security concerns. That was stated by a researcher called Lee in 2020. However, this growth implies cybersecurity risks. So we are saying that as IoT continue to grow, so are the cybersecurity risks. As IoT grows, even the risks do what? Do grow. That's why this research is focused on the cybersecurity in the era of IoT. One of the primary challenges in IoT security stems from the inherent vulnerabilities present in many IoT devices. Manufacturers, driven by competitive pressure and time to market considerations, may prioritize functionality and cost over security, resulting in devices with inadequate protection mechanisms. So we are saying that manufacturers are so much hell-bent on making money. Since the market is high, their major aim is to market as much as they can and sell as much as they can, but they are not looking at the security perspective. So common vulnerabilities include the use of default or hard-coded passwords, insecure communication protocols, lack of secure boot mechanisms, and insufficient firmware update mechanisms. These vulnerabilities not only expose individual devices to exploitation, but also compromise the integrity and security of the entire IoT network. This was stated by a researcher called Atetedaye Julius in 2024. Now, so this emerging trend, IoT, implies that billions of interconnected devices generate terabytes of big data, which is vulnerable to exploits by attackers. As IoT deployments encompass sensitive information about individuals, organizations, and critical infrastructure, the unauthorized access or misuse of this data can have far-reaching repercussions for personal privacy, corporate confidentiality, and national security. Inadequate data encryption, improper data handling practices, and insufficient access controls only magnify these privacy risks, necessitating the call for action to protect the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of IoT data. That call is still mentioned by Atetedaye in his research. Now, the background of our research. The emerging trend of IoT has seen itself evident over the years with the rapid adoption of a wide range of interconnected devices for various applications. During the past several years, in the area of wireless telecommunications, a novel paradigm named the Internet of Things, which was first used by Kevin Ashton in a presentation in 1998, has gained more and more attention in academia and industry. By embedding short-range mobile transceivers into a wide array of additional gadgets and everyday items, enabling new forms of communication between people and things, and between things themselves, IoT would add a new dimension to the world of information and communication. The popular use of such interconnected devices has become instrumental in several functions for not only domestic, industrial, but also for the academic arena. So these include, but are not limited to the following. We are saying this, where the application of IoT in some of the following areas. It's used in supply chain management. It's used in transportation. We have seen cars, buses, and taxis, as well as road intersections are becoming more instrumented with the sensors. It's used in healthcare. It's used in health. The IoT technologies such as RFID. I have defined RFID up there is a radio frequency identification. Wireless sensor networks, among others, could provide many benefits in the healthcare domain. For example, a person's health status could be inferred from the RFID tags on clothes or from discovering a wearable medical device. And the applications in hospital could be categorized into tracking of hospital staff and patients, identification and authentication of people, automatic data collection, and sensing. Now, in this research, we have seen statistics will only continue to emphasize the projected growth and adoption rate of IoT in many sectors across the globe. The number of devices connected to the Internet of Things is skyrocketing. The number surged from 12 billion in 2021 to 16 billion in 2023, and this trend shows no signs of slowing down. IoT Analytics predicts that by 2025, more than 27 billion IoT devices will be in use. This exponential growth underscores the urgent need for robust IoT security. This increase has a financial impact in addition to the numbers. IoT connections will grow at a 16% rate from 19.5 billion in 2025 to about 40.1 billion by 2030. IoT connection revenue will nearly double, growing 14% annually from 21.4 billion in 2025 to about 40 billion by 2030. That research was done by a gentleman called Onua in 2024. Therefore, this exponential growth results into unprecedented cybersecurity concerns in organizations, public and private institutions, along with governmental sectors themselves. The IoT has been a foundational component for smart cities, smart grids, smart manufacturing, smart health, driverless cars, and drones, to name but just a few. As a growing number and variety of connected devices are introduced into the IoT networks, they exponentially. A lack of security in the IoT systems opens up opportunities for intruders and hackers to access critical infrastructure and sensitive data. Some of the major cybersecurity risks and challenges that surface include So, as IoT continue to grow, its relevance continues to grow, but the cybersecurity risks also continue to grow. So here we are just highlighting some of the challenges that may affect the use of IoT, especially from a cybersecurity perspective. So there is lack of universal standards for interconnected devices. The absence of a universal standard makes it difficult for devices from different manufacturers to communicate and work together seamlessly, thus hindering integration and functionality. There is data misuse. The enormous amounts of personal and sensitive data collected by IoT devices create risks of mishandling, exploitation, and unauthorized access, thereby leading to significant privacy concerns. There is also an issue of unlimited device vulnerabilities. IoT devices, often with limited processing power and security features, are easy targets by cyber attacks, leading to potential data breaches and device compromise. There is a problem of high deployment costs. This is especially in the initial investment in hardware, software, and network infrastructure, as well as continuous maintenance are high. This creates a barrier against optimum utilization. Now, in recognizing the multifaceted nature of IoT security, it is clear that a collective and collaborative approach is indispensable. No single entity can tackle the diverse challenges and evolving threat landscape in isolation. A call to action echoes through this conclusion, a call for collaboration among industry stakeholders, policymakers, researchers, and the global community. This was stated by, I want to avoid mentioning the names because they are botanical, but by a researcher called Olukuno in 2024. Now, okay, however, it is also important to note that IoT, regardless of the many challenges, those that I've discussed above and others that I didn't mention in this research, it has come with many other advantages as well. IoT significantly influences our daily lives by making our everyday environments more functional, convenient, and efficient. So, at this point, as much as I have said, IoT has come with many challenges, data breach, insecurity, and all that. We are saying it's not bad. It's part of us, and it's here to stay. So, IoT is reshaping how we interact with our homes and personal devices, but also industries like healthcare, manufacturing IoT, and transportation, and others. Therefore, addressing the cybersecurity risks that are birthed by the expedient growth of IoT is not merely a technical necessity, but it is also a strategic imperative. As more IoT devices are embedded in critical infrastructure, that's to say, personal environments, healthcare, transportation networks, and others, the risks associated with device vulnerabilities, data privacy and security breaches, and others will only continue to emerge. Failure to remedy such will orchestrate a tsunami of sorts. This might lead to financial losses, compromised privacy, and possibly even threats to human life. Manufacturing IoT devices through following templates that adhere to cybersecurity-based principles needs to be a compulsory course at the industry level to prevent the possible challenges that have become prevalent as a result of the former efforts. Doing so will facilitate and enable organizations, corporations, and even entire governments to not only harness the full potential of IoT technologies, while fostering data and information security, but it will also accelerate the wide adoption of such devices and their assimilated functionalities. So majorly, that's our background. We are looking at IoT and its associated problems. Remember, our topic is cybersecurity in the era of IoT. That brings me to the problem statement. The rapid increase in IoT devices has created vulnerabilities that attackers exploit, leading to breaches that compromise the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of data and systems. Areas of concern include device vulnerabilities, e.g., default passwords, privacy risks from unencrypted data, and network weaknesses enabling denial of distributed service attacks, particularly in developing economies with limited resources. This condition, rooted in the background of unchecked expansion without proportional security investments, must be improved to eliminate difficulties like economic losses and privacy erosions. The troubling question is how to secure IoT without integrated solutions, as the current measures fall short in heterogeneous environments. So majorly that is our problem statement. Majorly that's the problem. Okay? How do we secure IoT in an environment where there are varied manufacturers with varied intentions? So our research objectives, we need to examine the key vulnerabilities in IoT devices and networks that compromise data. We also intend to identify and investigate barriers to IoT deployment, including data security, energy consumption, connectivity, and standardization. Objectives to come up with recommendations on how IoT and its associated devices can be secured. The theoretical framework, the IoT theory, is built on the foundation of connectivity and interconnection. It involves the integration of sensors, software, and networks to enable data exchange between devices. Analyzing the Internet of Things involves a variety of theories and frameworks from multiple disciplines. These include computer science, engineering, communications, and data analytics. Therefore, there are theories that can be analyzed in the aspect of IoT. This research, however, we analyze the following theories based on their relevance to our study. So there is a system theory in relation to cybersecurity. We employed system theory to view IoT as a system of interconnected components, that's sensors, devices, and networks. This theory was used to abstract the system structure, analyze the power, represent and measure the system change, and study the relationships between factors and data and the relationships between artificial systems and natural systems. Research has been conducted on the reliability of big data of IoT. The reliability changes of IoT are abstracted, and the relationships between influencing factors and big data are identified. Here, we considered abstract IoT as an example, and we mainly focused on the theoretical process. The system theory enabled us to understand how components interact with one another, how data flows from one component to another, and how changes in one part affect the whole. Then there is information theory. Information theory is a branch of mathematics that is concerned with two fundamental questions. The first question is how can we define and quantify information? B is what is the maximum information that can be sent through a communication channel. So information theory has made fundamental contributions not only in communication systems, but also in thermodynamics, computer science, and statistical inference. A communication system is modeled by a source of message, which may be a person or a machine producing the message to be transmitted. Then it also involves a channel, which is the medium over which the message is transmitted, and a sink or a destination that absorbs the message. While on the channel, the message can be corrupted by noise. So here I give a figure. That figure represents a model of a communication system. We are saying there has to be a source, then there is a medium, okay, that's the channel, and then there is a sink. So the message generated by the source conveys some information. One of the objectives of information theory is to quantify the information content of message. Then there is just a minute, there is a network theory. An IoT network links smart devices and sensors to communicate and share data, automating tasks without human involvement. These networks create interconnected ecosystems vital for various industries. IoT networks comprise device sensors and smart devices that autonomously communicate and share data, driving efficiency and innovation across various sectors. The effectiveness of IoT networks relies on advanced connectivity methods, including wireless protocols like Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and LP1. LP1 is a communication protocol, coupled with the sophisticated data processing techniques such as machine learning. IoT technologies contribute significantly to these advanced connectivity methods, enhancing operational capabilities. Despite their advantages, IoT networks face significant challenges, particularly in security, interoperability, and data management, making robust solutions essential for their safe and efficient operation. One of the key advantages of IoT networks is their ability to transfer data across a network without requiring human-to-human or human-to-computer interaction. This level of automation not only enhances efficiency, but also opens new possibilities for innovation in fields ranging from healthcare to manufacturing. Exploring further, we uncover the technologies and process enabling this seamless connectivity. So there is also what we identified as the cyber physical system theory. From the name, this indicates the integration of the cyber world and the dynamic physical world. It focuses on multi-dimensional data through the integration and collaboration of computing, communication, and control. Cyber physical systems are networked systems in which the computation cyber part is tightly integrated with physical components. That means that the computational components sense the state of the system and environment and then provide continuous feedback for controlling the system and actuating on the environment. Physical components include energy sources, transmission and distribution lines, loads, and control devices. Cyber components include energy management systems, supervisory control and data acquisition systems, and embedded implementations of control algorithms. The interplay of computational and physical systems yields new capabilities. The network is a key component in cyber physical system as it provides the backplane that guarantees timely transmission of the information from the physical to the computational world and of the commands from the computation to the physical world. And then there is what is identified as the security theory. the security theory, IoT security is based on cybersecurity strategy to protect IoT devices and the vulnerable networks they connect to from cyber attacks. IoT devices have no built-in security. IoT security is needed to help prevent data breaches because IoT devices transfer data over the internet unencrypted and operate undetected by standard cybersecurity systems. Along with the meaning of IoT security, it is important to understand the many challenges facing enterprises when dealing with IoT security issues. IoT devices were not built with security in mind. The ongoing proliferation and diversity of IoT devices and communications channels increases the potential for organizations to be exposed to cyber threats. Unfortunately, there is no way to install security software on most IoT devices. IoT devices may even be shipped with malware on them that infects the network which they connect. This is why network security is a priority for IoT security. So many network security solutions do not have the ability to detect connected IoT devices or show which device are communicating on the network. The following sections explore this and other big IoT security challenges, including but not limited to these. So in this theory, you need to look at the weak authentication and authorization, the lack of encryption, the vulnerabilities in firmware and software, in secure communications, and then the difficulty in patching and updating devices. In our research method, the study employed a mixed method research design, integrating both qualitative and quantitative approaches to comprehensively analyze cybersecurity challenges and solutions in the era of IT. So there is research design. The research will follow a descriptive and exploratory design. Descriptive elements will map out common vulnerabilities in IoT ecosystem, while the exploratory elements will investigate security practices, gaps, and potential integrated solutions. We shall also do data collection. In data collection, we shall do document and literature review. We can do survey and questionnaires, then interviews, and then case study analysis, where we can select a case study of IoT deployments, e.g., smart cities, healthcare, or industrial IoT systems will be examined to illustrate real-world vulnerabilities and security strategies. Then data analysis, we hope to do quantitative data, statistical analysis, descriptive analytics, frequency, distribution, correlation will be used to identify trends and relationships between IoT adoption and security risks. Then qualitative data, thematic analysis will be applied to interview, transcripts, and case studies to identify recurring patterns, perceptions, and challenges. Then comparative evaluation, current security frameworks will be evaluated against the identified vulnerabilities to highlight gaps and the opportunities for integrated solutions. Then we come up with a dictionary there, just in case we kept on referring to certain abbreviations. These are some of those that we used up there. I think, sorry. Those are some of those that we really used in our document. National Institute of Standards and Technology. LP1 is low power wide area network and all that. Then below there is our bibliography. Those are some of the references we interacted with while doing this research. Thank you for listening to me. I welcome your comments, additions, or subtractions, and further guidance. Thank you.
Thank you, Kali and team. Can we have reactions, comments, questions?
Hello?
Yes, David.
Yes, please.
Yes, good morning once again.
Good morning, David.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Kaluya, for the presentation. But with me, I noted down just three of the things that I observed from your research topic. And one is that to me as a person, I found out that this research topic it's okay, but the problem is that this research topic is broad. Maybe if our researchers narrowed this topic down, because for you to come up with such a research topic, it's kind of open. And when you talk about cybersecurity, there are so many things. Maybe you could narrow it down, maybe we are looking at cybersecurity in the Internet of all things challenges, and our main focus is maybe the healthy sector, or we are looking at a smart city, maybe something of that. Then two, when Mr. Kalia went to the objectives, I think the objectives also didn't come out well because I didn't see the main objective that Mr. Kalia was looking at. Then the specific objectives that are pointing to the main objective were also not addressed in what he shared with us. Then number three, when Mr. Kalia went to theories, I think there was no scholarly citations in what he was giving us. It was just descriptive. It was just descriptive. And then I went ahead and looked at one of the theories he gave us, and it was talking about, because it was an highlight, it was talking about security theory. And from what I found out is that this is not a theory. It's not actually a theory. Okay? So, and from the theories I've found, I've seen zero trust architecture, social technical theory, system theory, and I think these were some of the theories I expected to see in your description. Thank you so much. You can guide.
Thank you, David. Do we have any other comment, question, observation?
Thank you, Kaluya, for the presentation. Just to expound on David's point about the theories, especially for security. I've seen there are some things which may not be factual. For example, that statement of unfortunately, there is no way. You have gone up. That there, just go down there.
Proceed
There's no
down.
way to install. No, there. There is no way to install security software on most IoT devices. This is so open, and it may not be entirely true with the new technology which is around. So, yeah, maybe about that. Then for the topic, like David says, it's so huge. So it left some of us just wondering because it's so huge and it's still just open like that. So thank you.
Thank you, Eric. I think the two observations, the two contributors have, I think, hit the nail on the head, Kaluya and team. This is a extremely wide, very wide topic. When you look at Internet of Things, it includes so many things. You have, if you look at smart homes, smart cities, so on and so forth. It's extremely wide. And two, if let's say I was to pick one of your research objectives and just Google it, imagine how much I would find. Just one of your research objectives. I just Googled it. So it would be remember one of the things we said, your research question should not be something that can be Googled and answered just by Google alone. It really should be something that only research can give you an answer. Going through the research process. So like David said, it would be good if you had narrowed down maybe to smart homes and security and cyber security. And when we talk about cyber security, what specifically are we talking about? Again, like he said, smart homes, and then smart homes now in IoT, we have narrowed down to smart homes. Then a smart home, and then when it comes to cybersecurity, what exactly are we talking about there? There is also a huge area where we can even narrow it down further to something very specific. Then the other thing I also want to emphasize, for what is expected of you now. Remember when I was talking about IS, anyone who's developing an artifact could be somebody in computer forensics, it could be somebody in ICT. The ICT students normally develop things like models, frameworks, things for management. We're looking at management and governance. For IS, it is systems, applications, and so on and so forth. Look at what the professionalism. You're looking at design, implementation, adoption, evaluation. Those three areas. Where would I fall? Where should my research focus on? Yeah. So I don't know if and then again, I think they also got you on the theories. You decided to focus on
Yes,
broad areas, system theory. Like the first group looked at adoption. And adoption has many theories under that. You saw how the group listed the specific theories, term,
Yes.
diffusion theory, and so on and so forth. If we look at design theory, there are very specific design theories, and there are very specific theories under design theory. So you need to be very specific. And again, like I want to mention, like I told others, you pick one or two theories to guide you. Emmanuel, I don't know if
Yes,
that was
please,
clear.
Doctor.
Okay.
I'm taking note.
Okay, thank
Yep.
you. Thank you also again for your effort. Can we have the next group, please?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Babazi Flavia, and I'm presenting on behalf of Group 3.
Okay.
So let me share my screen. Are you able to see my screen?
Yep. Yes.
Yes, we can.
Okay. So those are the group members. We have Sentumbwe Emmanuel Pius, we have Iga Fred, we have Babazi Flavia, we have Mutenyo Hilda, we have Sebunya Henry, then we have Muumba Eric, Okiria Amos, and Luke. So our research topic was, the concept paper. Our title is Evaluating the Challenges and Adoption of the Upgraded Human Resource Management Information Systems. And our case study is Pride Bank Uganda. One of us works there, so he provide us with the information. Now, the intro. In today's competitive financial sector, organizations are under increasing pressure to digitize and streamline internal processes, human resource management information systems. In short, we are going to call them the HRMIS, have become vital tools for enhancing efficiency, accuracy, and decision-making within human resource departments. By automating functions such as payroll, performance management, leave administration, and training, HRMIS, which is Human Resource Management Information Systems, enables organizations to reduce administrative workload and improve strategic human resource planning. Pride Bank Uganda recently upgraded its HRMIS from a desktop-based version to a web-based platform with 7 modules, i.e. e-profile, e-leave, e-payroll, e-disciplinary, e-performance, e-training, and a management HR dashboard. This upgrade was intended to modernize HR operations and align with the bank's strategic digitalization goals. However, despite the implementation, the upgraded HRMIS has faced significant challenges that hinder its effectiveness and adoption. This study seeks to investigate the challenges associated with the HRMIS upgrade at Pride Bank and recommend practical solutions to ensure its successful adoption and utilization. So, okay, like the problem is they were using a desktop version and then they had to upgrade to a web-based version. But unfortunately, the desktop version hasn't yet been implemented because of some challenges. So they've gone back to the desktop version. Now, the background of the study is the adoption of HRMIS has been widely documented in both developed and developing economies. As both highlighted that HRMIS as a driver of efficiency in HR processes, while Ngai and Watt emphasized its role in decision-making and strategic planning. More recent studies found that HRMIS not only reduces paperwork, but also supports organizational agility through data integration. Now, despite these benefits, challenges persist. O'Brien and Marcus note that poor system design, limited integration, and inadequate user training often lead to underutilization of HRMIS. Similarly, Hassan and Khan observed that the HRMIS implementation in developing countries is often affected by organizational resistance, lack of customization, and infrastructure limitations. In Uganda, digitization of HR processes within financial institutions is a growing priority. Nsubuga notes that while adoption rates have improved, many banks struggle with system usability, integration, and long-term sustainability. This demonstrates a critical research gap. While HRMIS adoption is growing, little empirical evidence exists on the utilization and challenges within Ugandan banks. The case of Pride Bank presents an important opportunity to explore these issues. The HRMIS upgrade was designed to improve HR operations, but modules such as performance management, training, and disciplinary are underutilized, while other functions remain partially manual. Understanding why these gaps exist will provide valuable insights for HRMIS adoption in similar institutions. We went ahead to talk about the statement of the problem or the problem statement. Now, Pride Bank recently upgraded its human resource management information system, but the system still has serious problems. First, it only works within the bank's network, meaning as long as you're not within Pride Bank, you're not able to access the system. So the HR staff cannot access it remotely. Secondly, many HR tasks are still done manually because the system does not connect all the steps properly. Third, the system cannot handle big changes easily, especially in important areas like performance reviews and training. Because of this, key modules such as performance management, disciplinary, and training are not being used. These issues make HR work slower, less accurate, and prevent the bank from achieving its goals for improved digital services. Therefore, it is necessary to review the system's requirements, design, and implementation in order to recommend a better solution that is flexible, integrated, and user-friendly. Now, as a group, we went ahead to talk about our research objectives, and we started with our main objective. Our main objective was to investigate the challenges associated with the HRMIS upgrade at Pride Bank and recommend practical solutions to ensure its successful adoption and utilization. Then we went ahead as a team to discuss the specific objectives. So in order to achieve the main objective, the researcher has to systematically execute the following specific objectives. So in order to achieve the main objective, we are supposed to execute the following specific objectives. Our number one specific objective is to examine the challenges affecting the implementation and utilization of the upgraded HRMIS at Pride Bank. Our number two specific objective is to assess the extent to which the HRMIS meets the operational and strategic needs of the Human Resource Department. Our number three is to analyze user experiences and perceptions regarding HRMIS usability, accessibility, and integration. Our number four is to recommend strategies for improving HRMIS adoption and alignment with organizational goals. Then we went ahead to talk about the research questions. Our number one research question is what challenges affected the adoption and utilization of the upgraded HRMIS at Pride Bank? Then the number two is to what extent does the HRMIS support HR operational and strategic functions? Then how do HR staff and administrators perceive the system's usability and integration? Then what measures can be taken to improve the HRMIS to ensure full adoption and utilization? Then our theoretical framework was guided by two complementary theories. We have the technology acceptance model, also known as TAM in short, which was founded by Davis in 1989. This theory explains how users come to accept and use technology, emphasizing two constructs. Number one is perceived usefulness and perceived ease of use. These factors influence user attitudes and ultimately determine system adoption. TAM, also known as Technology Acceptance Model, is relevant to this study because HRMIS adoption at Pride Bank depends heavily on how staff perceive its usefulness in improving HR tasks and its ease of use. Then our number two theoretical framework was diffusion of innovations theory, which was founded by Rogers in 2003. This theory focuses on how new ideas and technologies spread within organizations. Adoption is influenced by factors such as relative advantage, compatibility, complexity, triability, and observability. This theory is appropriate for analyzing how HRMIS innovations diffuse among HR staff at Pride Bank and the organizational factors that facilitate or hinder adoption. Now, the combination of both TAM, which is Technology Acceptance Model, and diffusion of innovations provides a comprehensive framework for examining both individual and organizational factors influencing HRMIS adoption. Our proposed research design or method is this study will adopt a qualitative case study design, which is suitable for exploring the challenges of HRMIS implementation within its real-life organizational context, as stated by Ying in 2018. Our data collection methods, we have document review, which is analysis of HRMIS implementation reports, manuals, and upgrade documents. Then we have semi-structured interviews. These will be conducted with HR staff, IT administrators, and managers to capture user experiences and system challenges. Then we also have another collection method known as focus group discussions. This will be conducted with HR personnel to gather collective views on usability gaps and improvement opportunities. Then lastly, we shall have the observation, whereby direct observation of HRMIS usage to identify practical challenges in day-to-day HR tasks. Then we have data analysis. The study will employ thematic analysis to identify recurring themes, patterns, and challenges from the qualitative data. Coding will be applied to ensure systematic analysis aligned with the research objectives. Then we have our justification of method. The qualitative case study is justified because the challenges of HRMIS at Pride Bank are not only technical, but also organizational and behavior. A purely quantitative approach would not capture user experiences and perceptions effectively. Therefore, qualitative methods provide deeper insights into the complexities of system adoption. Then lastly, we have our bibliography or our references. Thank you for listening. That is what we had as Group 3 members.
Thank you,
Any
Flavia.
questions or any supplements from my group members?
Thank you, Flavia. Do we have any comments, contributions, observations?
I think I only have one.
Yes, please.
Just the research gap was missing, but thanks, Mbabazi, for the presentation.
You're welcome, David. I'll make sure we add that. Actually, I've just realized it.
So
Okay.
the research gap is really important, Flavia, because it tells us what gap you're feeling. What gap exactly are you feeling by doing this research? Two, Flavia, I'll also mention the same thing I mentioned to the first group. We shouldn't be hearing about pride, the case study now. We should be talking about the research area and research problem. That is the key point. What is the research area? Because there's a problem when you focus on pride, the case study, we're now talking about an organizational problem, not a research problem. We should be clear on what the research problem is.
All right, doctor.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. So that one is extremely, extremely important. Yeah. Do we have
For me,
yes, Kalia?
Flavia, just roll back to the problem statement. Because when David says the research gap is missing, I remember when group 2 presented, I asked the same, whether we have to definitively mention that this is the research gap, or it has to be implied in the problem statement. And you said it can be implied in the problem statement.
Yes.
Unless David says in the problem statement he doesn't see a research gap.
Actually, what we see here is an organizational problem. Because you start immediately by saying Pride Bank recently upgraded its human resource management information system, but the system still has serious problems. First, it only works inside the bank's network, so HR network cannot access it remotely. So these are organizational problems. They are not, it's not a research problem. So in actual sense, Flavia, you don't have a research problem. There's nothing researchable.
Doctor, maybe I can respond to Mr. Kaluya's issue. Yeah, basically, Mr. Kaluya, with the research problem, we are basically looking at other theories that have been done on the same research that you're doing. Can you bring out other theories that have been done? And then also, summing it up, also give us why it's worth for you to do this research. That's basically what the research problem entails, from my view.
Now let's go back to the background. The background discussion should bring out the research problem. Kalia, it isn't, like you said, it shouldn't be explicitly stated that it should be implied. By the time someone goes through your background statement, it should be clear what your research problem is. Now, if we look at what these people are talking about, HRMIS, a human resource management information system. If we broaden it, we're basically talking about information systems. It's not even about HMRI, human resource management information system. It's not about that. It's about any system being implemented in an organization, but it is not fully utilized. That's what, Mbabazi, your discussion should be. Full utilization of an implemented system. Your research area is utilization of information systems. That's your research area. And then how your research problem comes out, it should be a discussion on what research has been done as far as utilization of implemented system is concerned. What research has been done? and what has not been done. Now, the question of what has been done and what has not been done, that's where your research problem emerges from. Okay? That's where your research
Doctor.
problem emerges from. Yes, Emmanuel?
So this brings me to the question. The research problem emerges from the theories I have read in the background.
No, not the theories. It's not theories. It is on what research has been done and what has not been done. It's not theories.
Yes,
It's
not
what
theories, but what other researchers have done
and what has
and
not been
they
done.
feel has not been addressed.
Yes.
That forms the problem statement.
That forms the problems. That forms the research gap. And therefore,
Okay.
your problem statement becomes that this has not been done. This thing is, when the systems are implemented, they are expected to be this. But however, because this has not been done, we still have a gap.
Okay.
Mm.
Thank you.
So Flavia, we should have been seeing something on utilization of system utilization after implementation.
Doctor,
Yes, please.
maybe I may put some information to my brother Karia in a layman's language. In my view, the problem statement is what the institution is facing as a result of absence of your intended system that you want to put in place. That's a problem statement. And then the research gap is when you try to analyze what other systems are in place, because in research you must be sure that you're bringing something that is new. Now, when you compare what other systems are in place vis-a-vis what system you want to bring, and then the difference between the two, what the available systems cannot do that you think your intended system will solve. I think that's where the research gap lies, Doctor.
I think also, but I think we should also be careful about looking at current system, what system I want to bring, and so on and so forth. It really it should be not systems, but in that area, what has been lacking. Now, let me give an example. The case of Baba's group, they are not bringing a new system. The issue is that there's a system which is not being fully utilized. Yeah. Now, that is at organizational level. Now, at research level, where we identify the research gap, at research level, the million-dollar question is this about a particular HR system or is it about system utilization? It's about system utilization. So their group should be reading widely about system utilization. What has been done, what has not been done. And what are they saying? If they are saying it is about design, the issue is about design. Systems are not being fully utilized because they are being poorly designed. Then Mbabazi's group will say, okay, let's design using the state-of-the-art design theory and see if it will work, if it will be utilized. Then another person will say, maybe they found a gap which said it is about implementation. Then Babazi's group will say, okay, let's implement this using a new state-of-the-art theory, or let's use this new approach that is being proposed and try it and see if it's that. Then it turns out, no, that's not the case. Then they'll say yes or no. That is where they'll fill the gap. The question is, what research has been done? Not what system. What research has been done? What has not been done? It could be they're pointing the gap on design. They're pointing the gap to implementation. They are pointing the gap to management. Where is the gap in literature review? Where is the gap? What research has been done? What has not been done? Am I being clear?
Yes, Doctor.
Yes, Doctor. But I just have one question to ask still.
Yes, Kaluya.
On the very issue.
Mm.
For example, let me use this document that is still before us. These guys were looking at HRMIS. When I'm going to look for literature, do I look for literature specifically to IRMS or literature in the wider perspective of information systems?
Now,
Doctor, maybe before you answer, I wanted maybe to make this clear. The research was not about HRMS specifically. It was about adoption of information systems,
yes.
the adoption in organizations. That was the general view. So it was focused on HRMS because there are so many systems and we could not exhaust them all. So the
Yes.
focus was just on HRMS. So
Okay.
in a broader sense, it was about IMS systems, their adoption, and why are people not adopting them? What could be the factors? So we narrowed down to that case study of using HRMS in a private bank.
Yes, that's
Maybe
my
I just
question
wanted to
now.
make that
When
clear.
I'm looking for literature, do I look for literature of the wider perspective or literature on the narrow perspective for my
Kalia,
research?
let me give guidance here so that everyone gets it clear. Now, the group started with what was happening in Pride Microfinance. Is it Pride Bank? Not so?
Yes, private bank.
Yeah. So in Pride Bank, there is a challenge where an HRMIS was implemented and it's not, and there's been poor adoption. Now, what should the group have first done? The first thing the group should have done is either if it's adoption, then as a group you should have broadened it to system adoption. And then you start doing literature review on system adoption in organizations. Then that's when and at that point, this is when you begin to look at, if you're looking at adoption, is it adoption and utilization? What is it specifically? The literature review starts on adoption, not on HRMIS. Because if you just focus on HRMIS, because you're still just looking at Pride Bank, and then you're leaving it at organizational problems, but not research problem. Yeah, not research problem. When we say research problem, let me take this to a paper that was presented yesterday on multitasking. If someone had simply focused on seeing maybe the attention span of his child being solo because the child is constantly on social media, then that person would have simply looked at this would have remained as a home problem, a child raising problem. But these researchers decided to focus on measuring attention span because of having a certain hedonic experience. They broadened it. Okay? They didn't just focus on maybe one person who was observed, but it was broadened to let's actually measure hedonic experience. So also it's the same thing. We move out of the organizational problem and we broaden it. If it's adoption, then focus on adoption. If it is utilization, then do your literature review on utilization, system utilization, or system adoption. So Kaluya, to answer your question, it is not on HRMIS that you'd be doing your literature review, but on adoption, system adoption, or your system utilization. That's where you start looking for the research gap from. So that when you're now doing your research, it answers even the problem of an HRMIS. It will answer the problem of, let's say, an accounting system that is not being well adopted. It will answer the problem of an e-learning system that's not being fully adopted. Do you understand where I'm getting at? Eh?
Yes, doctor, it's now driven home.
Okay. So do we have another group? Is there another group to present?
I think the groups are done.
Groups are done. Now my question is ICT. I've not seen anything on ICT. Our ICT groups decided to go also IS, or you've mixed?
Doctor, for ICT, they are mixed with IS. So by the
Okay.
time groups were disputed, people were mixed. So we
Okay.
just left them there.
Okay,
Yes.
okay. So let's leave it at that. Okay, thank you everyone really for the efforts and taking time with your work. If anyone wants to make any corrections, please do and resubmit your work to my email.
Okay.
Okay, doctor.
Okay.
Doctor, before we go.
Yes, please.
Hello? Yes, according to the timetable which was shared, 11th October, which is next week, is supposed to be, I think, exams.
Okay.
So I don't know, are we having another class or?
Now
No,
that.
I don't know. Yeah.
Okay. So if that was one of the things I was concerned about. Now, if the 11th was supposed to start, what I'm going to do, I'm going to put up for you some pre-recorded lectures for the remaining topics. Then I will put up your final exam up. But now you don't have access to Moodle. It's still not there. Is John Bosco with us? Is there any solution for us with Moodle?
I don't see John Bosco on call today.
Okay, so that doesn't seem to be up. Okay, I'll share with you your final assessment, which is essentially the concept paper, but at individual level now.
That's
Now,
the exam.
yes, but it's a take home. Is that okay?
Doctor,
Sorry,
I
doctor, we
personally
didn't
didn't
hear
hear you.
Didn't hear whatever you said. You
Hey,
were not.
my network is still.
I think
Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
yes,
we do
now
Yes.
now.
Okay. Now I'm saying what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you some pre-recorded lectures for the remaining research design content. Then I'll also share with you the final assessment, which is a take home, the concept paper.
Okay.
Is that okay?
It's
It's okay,
that's where
doctor.
Karia was asking if that's the final exam, doctor.
Yes, it is the final exam. Is that
Doctor,
okay?
we are losing you.
You can't hear me.
No, you're breaking.
You're
Now we
breaking.
can
Some
hear
words are
you.
not being heard.
Okay.
Leombia, you're sharing something now. Is it by mistake or you intended?
It's not by mistake. I wanted Doctor to share more light on our topic. When you say that it's wide, it's broad, I thought for us we are looking at cybersecurity and the era of Internet of
Yes.
Things. How broad, how wide?
Now, can you, the challenge is the network. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Doctor,
Yes,
now we
right now
can
we are
hear you,
hearing.
but I
Okay.
request that maybe you first conclude with the statements you were giving
Okay.
Yes,
before.
exactly.
Okay. So I said I'm going to share some pre-recorded lectures on the topics which we haven't covered, specifically research design, the remaining two. Then the second thing was I said I'm going to share again the final assessment, which is the concept paper, and it's a take home. Are we clear on those?
And that's the final
Yes,
exam.
doctor.
Yes,
Yes,
that's
we
the
are clear.
final exam.
Doctor, maybe on that, this take home,
Mm.
what period do we have? What duration do we have
2 weeks.
for it?
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Yes.
Okay. That will be okay. Okay.
Thank you. So Lyombia, it's about your your topic.
The topic.
Yes.
Yes, please.
Now, if we said, when we look at the Internet of Things, it covers a broad range of technology, broad range. You're looking at smart cities, you're looking at smart homes, you're looking at smartphones, you're looking at all these technologies. So if I was to, let us say, if I just decided to say, to Google one of your research objectives, what answers do you think it would, don't you think it would give me these challenges? If I can Google them. So when we say we want to do research, we're doing something scientific, which is going through a scientific process. So if I decided to broaden this to smart homes, let me just do smart
Yes,
homes.
please.
Yes. And we decided
please.
to look at what research has been done on smart homes. Then I decided for cybersecurity to break this further down. Yeah, because also cybersecurity is a very wide topic. Okay. If I decided to break this down further to maybe firewalls in smart homes, and what research has been done on firewalls in smart homes, or just a security element in Wi-Fi, because Internet of Things depends essentially on Wi-Fi. So if I just decided to break this further down into that,
Yes, please.
you would find a lot of research gaps. The literature review on that, if I broke it further down.
Okay.
You don't want a topic where I can Google it and find challenges. Just Googling it. And that gives you challenges.
Okay, doctor.
Okay, you're welcome. Any other question?
Doctor, maybe one more about you had said that if we can make some changes and share with you on email.
Yes.
So can we do that by Monday? Could you
Yes,
give
please.
us that allowance?
That is okay.
Okay, thank you.
You have any other question?
Maybe, Doctor, what you didn't conclude on was if this is our last lecture or it's in the next lecture that you're going to give us those materials that you are talking about.
Those I'm going to share them.
So could this be the last lecture?
Yes, please.
Doctor, we are going to miss you, Doctor.
I'm also going to miss you too. I haven't had enough time with you.
We hope to meet again in the next modules.
Yes, we hope so too. I hope so too.
And I extend sincere thanks for the time we have been together and what you've taken us through. It's really added a lot to me personally. I've learned a lot in the research. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for that feedback. Thank you.
Doctor, lastly,
yes, please.
Maybe what I can say is that really thanks for the way you address issues and the way you bring out things. It gives more light and more knowledge to the person who is researching. So for me as a person, I thank you for that because your guidance has helped me a lot in the research that I've been doing. So thank you so much, and we shall miss you. Probably we shall be glad to have you in more lectures because your lectures have been so interactive and straight to the point, and really your addresses come out so clear, and for a researcher you can easily find knowledge with the vast wisdom that you have shared. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, David. Thank you so much for that feedback. Okay, thank you so much, everyone. I think this has been one of my most interactive classes. So I really appreciated the knowledge you come with. I hope we shall meet again. I know I should meet the ICT group at a certain point. I hope I'll meet the IS group as well. Thank you so much, everyone, once again.
Thank you so much, Doctor.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, Doctor.
Okay. Have a good